So for those who don't know, this is a video that's floating around Twitter. As you can see, that's Jacob Fatu right there behind Roman Reigns. And it's crazy because nobody caught this. Nobody was talking about this at the time. But Roman Reigns, before, main event with Cody, like, you got Jacob Fatu in his corner. I'm curious. I am curious. Is WWE planning something here? I think there's a very big possibility that Jacob Fatu is actually going to be the one that ends up joining Roman Reigns. I think Jacob Fatu is turning babyface. And to answer your question, Adam, I don't think Zilla Fatu will back up Cody and Roman. I think if there's going to be a major plot twist in the storyline, it is Jacob Fatu aligning with Roman Reigns as a babyface. And there could be a couple of reasons for WWE wanting to do this. I think most importantly, you got to be careful how you book Jacob Fatu because there's a lot of similarities between Jacob Fatu and Solo Sikoa. That's the first thing. But I think you also have to acknowledge the fact that Solo Sikoa, in terms of experience, is a lot less experienced than Jacob Fatu. Jacob Fatu is a guy that's basically he's been killing it, right? Like, this guy's been killing it for a very, very long time. There was a lot of things that prevented him from getting on TV, but they are going to be often compared to. And so they are both heavy hitters. A lot of people are looking at this. Now, WWE has already planted the seeds, though. A lot of people forgot this. WWE has already planted the seeds for Jacob Fatu to split away from Solo Sikoa. Jacob Fatu had to hand over the tag team championship belt to Tonga Loa. Not only did he do that, but Cody Rhodes challenged Jacob Fatu to a WWE championship match for SmackDown. And then what ended up happening, guys? Jacob Fatu went to stand up and get to that ring to accept the challenge, and Solo Sikoa told him to stand down. So now this video is floating around on Twitter where you see Jacob Fatu being behind Roman Reigns. Maybe there's no significance to that, but guys, WWE and Triple H have made it very, very clear for a long time. You've got to pay attention to the little nuggets. They feed you the little nuggets. And so when we talk about these super chats that we're getting about the bloodline and Zilla Fatu and Cody and Tama Tonga and this entire bloodline storyline, there is so many things that they can do. And I think we have all, by the way, done a fantastic job of speculating and fantasy booking. I think it's actually become really fun to speculate who's going to turn, what's going to happen, how will The Rock get revealed. I think there's been so many cool things here that we as a community have speculated. But I just think one of the coolest parts about this storyline is that we've already seen so many different swerves and plot twists since 2020. It is 2024. And so, I mean, look, we are at a situation where this is getting so good because what inning are we truly in? Paul Heyman hasn't even returned. We don't even know if Paul Heyman is for sure going to be the wise man for Roman Reigns. We haven't even seen the fact of, we haven't seen the Usos reunite. We haven't seen Sami Zayn reunite. We just saw Jey Uso win the Intercontinental Championship. So there has been a lot of fun things that have happened, and it's all happening gradually. And like I said, we did not see this. We definitely did not see this. We definitely were not paying attention to this. But Jacob Fatu being right there in the corner for Roman Reigns, walking with him, we knew that Jacob Fatu had signed with the company at that point. But we didn't expect that. No, we don't pay attention to those things, man. We don't pay attention sometimes to those little details. And I think WWE has gotten so good about introducing those little details to the point where those little details have become a very big pivotal moment later on in the future. And that's what WWE does. That's what Triple H's era is all about. Guys, I've said this time and time again. Triple H literally does this all the time. Things that happen off of TV sometimes might even have an impact on things that happen on TV. But there's always these little different nuances, these little different elements that happen. And so I'm going to say this, especially when addressing these super chats, especially going back to Seifa's super chat about, maybe Cody Rhodes turning heel. What I will say is this. We can speculate, we can fantasy book, and it's incredibly fun to do so. I definitely agree with that. Fantasy booking is incredibly fun. But I have a feeling that WWE already knows what they're doing. And I think WWE wants everybody fantasy booking. I think WWE wants everybody reading into Jacob Fatu being with Roman Reigns. I think WWE loves this type of stuff because it creates really high engagement on social media. But I'm going to go as far as saying I think WWE is doing all of this on purpose, and they already have the plot twist planned. And whether it's a good plot twist or a bad plot twist, God knows. But I do think if Jacob Fatu is turning babyface, that could be massive, because Jacob Fatu turning babyface, in my opinion, would only be so that he could get closer to Roman Reigns to eventually feud and turn on Roman Reigns. So let me say that again. I don't think Jacob Fatu will ever be a permanent babyface. But Jacob Fatu, I could see him turning on Solo Sikoa, and I could see him joining Roman Reigns only for him to eventually turn on Roman Reigns. And WWE knows there is a very big marquee match between Roman Reigns and Jacob Fatu. They are very, very particular in keeping them separated on TV. There's a very big reason for that. WWE is incredibly smart about that. So, in my opinion, I think that's a great thing. If Jacob Fatu turned babyface so he could then align with Roman Reigns and then eventually, like, dude, this guy is plotting something in his head. We all know this. He is plotting something in his head. He has plans to be his own tribal chief. Now, I don't know what it's going to be like after, but let's talk about this for a second. After The Rock and Roman and the Bloodline versus Bloodline and all this Bloodline stuff comes to conclusion, what do you do with Jacob Fatu? What do you do with Tama Tonga and Tonga Loa? I said this a couple of weeks ago, guys. I said, man, watching Tonga Loa, Tama Tonga, and Jacob Fatu invade NXT 2 weeks ago when they invaded NXT without Solo Sikoa, these guys looked like the biggest threat in professional wrestling. And I would love to see them be a faction. I also think it would be a really cool thing for Jacob Fatu to take the Intercontinental Championship from Jey Uso. I said this in a previous stream. Jey Uso won the IC title. Let him go to SmackDown. Do a trade. Send LA Knight to Raw. And Jey Uso goes to SmackDown. It's a trade. The championship belts trade brands. And then what's actually really cool about that is that Jey Uso will now be forced to align with the Bloodline, with Jimmy and Roman and Cody or whatever it may be. And then Jacob Fatu could go for singles gold. And if you want to keep it all within the Bloodline storyline, it makes sense for him to go after Jey Uso. But, dude, I'm super excited about that. A lot of good things could come from this storyline. Again, we're speculating, we're fantasy booking, but that is the beauty of it.